Just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person.
It's Friday, October 17th, 2025. This is the Dollemore Daily. My name is Garrison Hayes, filling in for Jesse Dollemore while he is away in Japan. We have big news today that I want to hit on, starting here with former National Security Advisor John Bolton, indicted on 18 counts tied to classified materials that he allegedly kept and stored and shared. They're saying that he shared more than 1,000 pages of sensitive notes with family, that he kept top secret documents in his home. They say that he kept and he emailed what was described as a diary-like set of entries that described day-to-day life in high-level meetings during his time in the White House with foreign leaders, conversations, and intelligence briefings. They said that he sent it to two relatives, and a lot of people are reporting that that's his wife and his daughter. President Trump was asked about this indictment shortly after the news broke, and he had this to say.
Just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way.
Bolton, of course, says that he did not unlawfully share or store classified information. He actually calls the case politically motivated, which is not unbelievable when you look at everything that the Trump administration has been done. You think about Letitia James, you think about James Comey, you think about the Truth Social tweet post about telling Pam Bondi, AG, to go after some of his political enemies. This feels like it fits within a theme. It fits within the way that the president has been leading, going after his political enemies. Now, he says, of course, he did not know. This is the first I've heard of it. I've not been involved. And he's been consistent on that point. But it does feel politically motivated. I imagine that as we're getting more information, we'll see exactly what's maybe in these pages. But I can already tell you that John Bolton's attorney says that these materials were personal diaries and that is not illegal. They say that it was unclassified information, not the classified information he's being accused of storing. His lawyers went so far as to say that these records had been known to the FBI since 2021. In other words, this is an old dispute resurrected. Speaking of old disputes, though, a lot has been said about John Bolton this year. Back in August, the president called him stupid from the Oval Office. I think that was the Oval Office. From the Oval Office. Watch this clip.
Search of John Bolton's home and office from Friday. Have you been briefed on that?
I have not been briefed. No, I read it just like you did. I was never a fan of his. I thought he was stupid. I thought he was, a guy that only wanted to go into war. He liked killing people. I thought he was essentially a bad guy, but I'm not involved in that. No, you'd have to ask Pam Bondi about that.
What an upstanding citizen. Just a role model for the kids, if you really know game. Hey, kids, make sure you're watching the president to learn how to talk about people that you disagree with, Okay, you'll also remember that back in 2020, Trump sued John Bolton to block the release of his tell-all book. This is what Trump had to say back then. And I want you to pay close attention to the similarities between these two situations. It almost feels as though he was forecasting that we're going to go after this guy. This is, of course, in the middle of the 2020, presidential race. And so there are things that he wasn't saying at the time, but he kind of let something slip. And we see as soon as he was back in power, where it's not been a year, right? He's already going after him. Watch this clip.
I put him here because he couldn't get Senate confirmed. This was a non-Senate confirmed position, as you know. He stayed for a short while. And I felt that it was not appropriate that he stay any longer. I wasn't impressed. And somebody said he went out and wrote a book. If he wrote a book, I can't imagine that he can, because that's highly classified information. Even conversations with me, they're highly classified. I told that to the Attorney General before. I will consider every conversation with me as president highly classified. So that would mean that if he wrote a book, and if the book gets out, he's broken the law. And I would think that he would have criminal problems. I hope so. Otherwise, I mean, they put a sailor in jail because he sent a photograph of his bed and an engine of an old submarine. And if this guy's writing things about conversations or about anything, and maybe he's not telling the truth. He's been known not to tell the truth.
You know, there's all of this concern about national security and classified information and what can and cannot be shared, what can and cannot be said. All of this concern. And I actually think we should be concerned. I think we should be concerned about national security. Because yesterday, during his press conference, the same press conference that you saw this clip from earlier, the president revealed what I think should be kind of a striking revelation. You know, the president is taking direct calls from Vladimir Putin, and those calls shift and in some ways undermine the agenda and the desires of his top allies in Republican leadership. At the same press conference that we showed you earlier, where he said that he did not know that John Bolton had been indicted, at that same press conference, the president was also asked about John Thune's desire to put sanctions on Russia. And this is how he responded. There's something kind of weaselly happening here. There's this shift. There's like, oh, wait. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Watch this clip.
Yeah, please.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So Senate Majority Leader John Thune today said he'd like to proceed with the bill which would put sanctions on Russia. What's your thought on that?
Well, we're going to see. He doesn't know about the call yet. I'm going to speak to him later. And it was subject to what I wanted to do. And so we'll see what happens. This may be such a productive call that we're going to end up, we want to get peace. We want to stop the killing. 7,000 people a week. Can you believe it? We want to stop the killing. So I'm going to speak to him and the speaker, Mike Johnson. I'll speak to them a little bit later and I'll tell them about this and we'll make the right determination. I'm not against anything. I'm just saying it may not be perfect timing. It could happen in a week or two, but it's at my option, as you know.
I want to be very clear that the president has the right to talk to other world leaders. Frankly, he can talk to whoever it is that he wants to talk to. That's totally fine. That is his business. It is his right to do so. But you think that there be some kind of unified front around the way that the United States of America was handling one of its greatest foreign threats. And this is relevant because one of John Bolton's biggest critiques against the president is that in many ways, he is a puppet, a stooge for Vladimir Putin, that he is effectively carrying out Russia's agenda here in the United States of America. And it isn't lost on me that the same day that Donald Trump and Putin and their conversation is revealed to the media, maybe the day that they're talking, it isn't lost on me that within that same period of time, John Bolton is indicted. I'm not saying the two are connected. I'm just saying the irony is real. Perhaps John Bolton's documents, his document retention habits, if you will, are a serious threat. I don't know. Maybe they are. I really don't know. But I don't think it's the only national security threat our country is facing today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's it for me in this one. I'm Garrison Hayes. Again, I'm guest hosting for Jesse. What an honor. It's been great to hang out with you all this week. Make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to this channel if you aren't already. Let me tell you, I'd also love it if you came over and checked out my channel. I make deep dive content into history and culture and politics and things happening right now. My videos are often deeply researched and kind of in the weeds. That's the thing that I like to do. So come check me out. Come check me out. I think you'll like what you see over there. Come subscribe. There's a link to my channel somewhere below, just down there. Be sure to also go follow Jesse on all the platforms. He's on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram, all of the platforms at Dollemore. Make sure you go give him a follow over there as well. You can find the links to my pages on other platforms from my channel, which there's a link to my channel below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.